All right, let's take a look at a few sample problems that are going to be like the ones you're going to do today. Today you're going to be doing practice A, so I'm going to show you some examples on practice B. The first part says how many decimal places are in the product? Pretty much, so how many decimal places, or where am I going to put the decimal point in my answer? So if I have this number, 202 and 37 hundredths times 8 tenths, I see that I have 2 decimal places in my first factor, and I have 1 decimal place in my second factor. So I'm going to have 3 decimal places in my answer. So if I had written it out, I would know my decimal point is going to go right here, 3 spaces back. Let's look at number 2. I have 1 decimal place in this factor and 1 decimal place in this factor. So I'm going to have 2 decimal places in my answer. So if this was my answer, I would go back 1, 2, and I would have 2 numbers in my answer and put my decimal point here. Number 3, 1, 2 decimal places here, 1, 2 decimal places here. So my answer will have 4 decimal places. Okay. I'm going to do one of these as an example. So let's do 9 and 25 hundredths times 6. 6 doesn't have any decimal places. 9 25 hundredths has 2 decimal places, so I know my answer is going to have 2 decimal places. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 more is 15. 9 times 6 is 54, plus 1 more is 55. And I'm going to count back 2 decimal places, 1, 2, 1, 2. So my answer is 55 and 5 tenths. Now, let's take a look at some of these problems down here. Here I have 5 hundredths times 7. I have all these zeros in front of that 5. I don't have to worry about those zeros. I want to focus on this basic fact of 5 times 7. I know that 5 times 7 is 35, so I'm going to write down my 35. And I know that this number has 1, 2, 3 decimal places, and this one has none. So I know I need to move this back 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So my decimal point is going to go right here. I'm going to fill this empty spot in with a 0. So 5 hundredths times 7 is 35 hundredths. Let's find another problem that's like that. 4 times 7 10,000ths. I'm going to just look at my basic fact of 4 times 7. I know that 4 times 7 equals 28. So I'm going to write 28. And I have no decimal places with the 4, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places with my 7. So I'm going to start at the end of my 28 and count back 4 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put my decimal point. I'm going to fill these empty spaces in with zeros. So my answer is 28 10,000ths. Sometimes our problem could be written this way. Again, I know 5 times 3 is 15. I have 1 decimal place with my 5 tenths, 1 decimal place with my 3 tenths, so I'm going to have 2 decimal places in my answer. As you work through practice A today, you'll see very similar. For 1 through 3, you're going to just count how many decimal places and put your decimal point into the answer. Okay? You're going to solve these problems on scratch paper, write your answer down. And then for these, same thing, find that basic fact, 4 times 2, and figure out how many decimal places there will be in the answer. The back is very similar. We can use some basic facts to help us answer these problems. Okay, or we might need to rewrite them, and then there's 2 word problems also to go ahead and do. All right, good luck.